What's going on, guys? This is Wheeler. Welcome back to another video. Surprise, my ZR1 is here. So this is VIN number 20, car number 20 of those produced. It is currently June 13th, Friday the 13th, spooky. As far as I'm aware, only about 30 of these have been produced so far. With the early cars, I saw VIN number 11 was delivered, I think, on the 5th. So they've only been producing these for the last 3-4 weeks or so. So these are very new, just hitting customers' hands now, as you can see. And I was lucky enough to secure an early car. This isn't going to be a full review because I haven't reached the break-in period, which is 500 miles. So I haven't really got to push the car and have a lot of driving time behind it. So I don't feel comfortable doing an entire review, but I wanted to kind of walk you guys around the car, show a little bit of the differences between the C8s and the ZR1 specifically, some unique changes, and share the car with you guys because I'm extremely blessed that I'm able to have this vehicle, and I want to share it with as many people as possible because there's not going to be that many of them out there. So from the exterior, the first thing we got to talk about, obviously, is this wing. This wing is ridiculous. It looks crazy in photos. It's even crazier in person. I thought the C7 ZR1's wing was gigantic. I thought the C8 Z6's wing was gigantic. This is on a totally different level. I took the measuring tape out earlier, and from edge to edge, you're looking at about 11 inches across the middle here, with the winglets going all the way to 1.5 feet, just to give you some context for how large this wing is. Now, I don't have something like the Viper ACR right beside it. I know that wing is huge. I don't know how it compares to that, but regardless, this wing is comically large, cartoonish even, like a child drew it, and almost looks out of place on this vehicle, but that just makes it that much more cool. Full carbon, obviously. This thing is ridiculous looking, and I love it. The rest of the rear of the vehicle is pretty much the same as the other C8s, the C8 Z06 specifically. Just like the C7 Z06 to the C7 ZR1, the only thing that really changed in the rear was the wing. So that's basically what you have here, other than the split window, which we'll get to in a second. But going around the rest of the car, you'll notice we have 2 extra vents from the C8 Z06. So you have a vent here and a vent here. This one is to cool the brakes, and this one is more airflow for the turbos. I really like this top vent here. All the C7s had them, this vent on the top quarter panel here, or on the hatch, if you will. So I like that they kind of brought that back. It's reminiscent of the cars and looks really good, especially with it being in all carbon. Moving along to the side, much of the same here from the side other than the ZR1 badge. On the front, the biggest change you'll obviously notice is the hood. You now have a fully pass-through hood design here. So before in the C8s, the radiator sat just behind this front grille, much like the side grills here. However, on this one, they have enlarged the radiator and moved it back to accommodate for its size. And because of that, the front trunk, which always had a decent amount of room for a mid-engine car, is now completely gone. So there is no storage in the front whatsoever. No longer a grocery getter, not that you'd be using this car for that anyway, but now you don't have the option either. It is just one giant radiator. I wouldn't want to store anything behind there. And because I'm assuming they aren't anticipating their buyers opening this very much, as there's no utility to it, a feature that they added previously, which was the soft close feature of the front trunk, has now been removed. So it was added where if you gave it the first click, it would auto close by itself the rest of the way down. They took that away, no longer does that. So you have to push in all the way, just like you had to do in the early C8s. The carbon here on this lip is a really nice added touch. I love the look. I think it looks awesome, but no more front space. Interestingly, to open the front on the previous C8s, there was a button right here underneath the bumper. That's how you'd open the front trunk. This cutout is oddly still there, but the button is gone. So there's no way to open the front of the car from the outside other than the key fob. In terms of aero on the front and sides, it's basically the Z07 package for the C8 Z06. The canards, the splitter, the side skirts are basically identical. The only real changes aero-wise is the wing, the hood, and then the 2 extra added vents. Other than that, it's very similar, but even those minor touches makes the car look that much more aggressive. It looks phenomenal. I think it couldn't have turned out better, honestly, and I'm excited to see what they do next too. Another nice attention to detail change that they made before, if you got the carbon roof used to stop here. And then this panel here was either body color or black, depending on your spec. But now it looks like they've actually made this panel carbon as well, and taken this carbon in as well as the paint, which kind of ties this roof line off together a lot more. It just looks a lot more finished. I always thought it was weird how the carbon just stopped. I like how they made that change, a nice attention to detail finish. Moving on to the rear, it's now an option to get the window like outsides completely carbon like this one, and you'll also notice it is now a split window design, reminiscent to the split window vets back in classic days, 60s, 70s. So it's cool to see that as well. This piece in the middle, this is entirely carbon, this entire piece. The entire hatch isn't, but the window piece is. Also, for the keen-eyed among you, you might notice that there's no more a camera there for the rear view mirror camera. That has been relocated, assumingly because it wouldn't see past this comically large wing. The camera has now been moved to the rear. So now you have both cameras here for your backup camera and your rear view mirror camera. They've been both moved by the license plate. Interestingly enough, I don't know if I'm just blind, but the button that used to be here to open the trunk is also missing. So seemingly to open both hatches, front and rear, the buttons have been removed, and the only way to open it is either from the interior buttons or the key fob. Opening the trunk here, you'll see the trunk space is basically identical. As usual for the C8s, they always give you extra vents and whatnot for track prep if you intend on tracking the car, as well as a car cover, which is an option if you buy the extra one. But it's still a target top, so you can still take the roof off and put it in the rear of the car, even though I don't really know how you're gonna get it over the wing, but it's an option nonetheless. As you can see here on the inside, this top piece is entirely carbon. It's not quite as finished with clear coat and whatnot, and as it is on the outside, but still carbon. I got the carbon engine compartment package. And one thing you will notice with the ZR1s, all of the intake manifolds are blue. So on every one that I've seen, despite spec and color, the intake manifold is entirely blue. And it's not just a cover, that is the manifold itself. You also get a nice little badge here that shows you engine displacement, horsepower, torque, and compression ratio, which is pretty cool. This one is a 9.8 to 1, which interestingly, I'm surprised this takes premium with it only being a 9.8 to 1 compression ratio, but it does. You also get the plaque with the engine builder there, just as the Z06s. But overall, I think this looks awesome back here. Moving to the interior of the car, you will notice that it's a lot of more of the same. So for the 2025s at the very least, which we'll get to in a second, the interior is basically identical to all the other C8, C8 Z06s with the carbon options. The only way you can tell that this is a ZR1 from the inside is this ZR1 badge, as well as this ZR1 badge back here. This one says Launch Edition because it's one of the first ones. But other than that, the interior is basically identical to the other C8s for now, which we'll talk about in a second. Also, this sill plate I pulled from my other Z06. These are aftermarket just to protect the door sill and then the mats as well. Those aren't original. I got this blue accent stitching on all the leather with the blue belts. Really ties everything in together really well on the roof as well. And on the doors, you have a bunch of this blue accent stitching. Loving the blue with it being ZR1's color and whatnot. Interestingly enough, on all the previous ZR1s, the C7 and C6, the 1 on the ZR1 logo was always blue. And even in this car, where they took the time to actually make the manifold blue, they changed this to black. I don't know why they did that. I would prefer if it stayed blue, just like all the other ZR1s, but nonetheless, they made the change. Going back to the interior, what makes this one, specifically the 2025 model year of the ZR1s, so unique? They're only making about 300 of them for this model year. And I'm sure you've heard in the next year, so 2026 for the C8s, they're doing an entire interior refresh. So some of you may think, oh, why would you get the 2025 then if they're just gonna be redoing the entire interior? You should have waited. I actually think that makes this car even more unique, meaning the 2025 model year, the only 300 that they're making, will be the only ZR1s with this interior, thus making this car even more rare. I'm not entirely sure how many are spec'd exactly like this or how many are in white, but even so, this is a very limited car already, and now it's only gonna be one of 300 with the 2025 interior. So I loved the interior before. I'm sure the 2026 interior is gonna look even better, but I have no problem with it, and I think this car is gonna be kind of a unicorn. But the big thing everybody's wondering about these cars is price. because what GM has them listed at and what their starting price is so much different than what they're selling for and what you can get with the options, especially because considering how rare this car is and some of the markups that dealers have been suggesting for these vehicles. It's kind of up in the air in terms of what these actually cost. I have the window sticker here, so I'm gonna go over exactly what this car started at, what it's priced at with this particular spec and these options, what I got it for, and what some of the other ones I've seen are selling for online right now. So if we take a look at this sticker, standard vehicle price is $184,300 base without any options. This vehicle was priced at $213,965 MSRP with the options. So how did we jump, almost, $20,000, $30,000 there? The carbon fiber aero package is $8,500. The carbon fiber interior trim is another $5,000. You have $3,000 for gas guzzler tax. I got the front lift on this, was another $2,600. And then you have your wheels, your mirror caps, invisible carbon fiber. You have carbon flash metallic painted outside mirrors, which is this piece right here. And then the carbon flash blue accent full length dual racing stripes, which I got on the car, are another $1,000. And then other options as well, such as the brake calipers, stealth interior trim, the blue seat belts, leather interior stitch, car cover, and all the other black cross flags, logo, exhaust tips, and the battery protection package. So total options on this car were $27,770, and the destination charge, making the total $213,965. That's a lot of money for any car, especially for a vet. It's crazy that we're seeing vets in the $200,000 pricing range. What's even crazier, as dealers are asking for upwards of $100,000 over on that particular price. And I've even seen some people privately selling their allocations for even higher than that, making what would be a $213,000 MSRP vehicle sell for $300,000, $350,000, close to $400,000 in some cases. Is it worth that? What something is worth is dependent on how you value it. If it is to you, fine. I think paying $400,000 for this vehicle is kind of ridiculous. Once you get into that price range, you start to open up to a lot of other vehicles that are in different calibers. Maybe not in terms of speed. This car is almost 1,100 horsepower. They may not be able to keep up in terms of speed, even in the $400,000, $500,000 price range. But you're stepping into an entirely different range of vehicles in terms of exotics. Do you consider this an exotic car? That depends. Some people do, some people don't. I think it's definitely getting there, especially priced that way. But would I buy this car for $400,000? No, I wouldn't. I'd go look at something else. You could get an Aventador, you could get a Huracan, you can get an STO, you can get a bunch of vehicles for that price, which may be perceived as, more unique or more luxurious, whatever. But it's dependent on you. I've had a long-standing relationship with my dealership, and I got this car for $50,000 over sticker. So out the door, it was $263,000 after tax and everything, which makes this over a $250,000 car. Is it worth that to you? That's for you to decide. I definitely didn't want to pay $100,000, $150,000 over. I wouldn't do that if they told me that was the case. I wouldn't have bought it. I would have looked elsewhere, just not got a car altogether. But overall, at that price, I think it's worth it. I'm happy with it, and it's just an incredible car. I've been a huge vet fan for years now. I had a 2016 Stingray. There's a bunny rabbit. Bunny rabbit. I had a 2016 Stingray. I had a 2020 C8 Stingray. I had a 2019 C7 ZR1. I had a 2024 Z06, and now this will be my fifth vet. So I'm not a vet fanboy, if you will. I don't think they're perfect, but what I do know is I've driven 200,000 miles on this platform over the years on multiple vets, and believe it or not, I have never had the car in for service for anything other than routine maintenance. I put 70,000 miles on my very first Corvette, the 2016 Stingray. I put another 65,000 miles on my 2020 Stingray. I put, 11,000 on my Z06, another 14,000 on the ZR1, and none of them ever had any issues. They were bulletproof despite daily driving them, tracking them, taking them on trips across the country. They never left me stranded. So I've maintained loyal to this brand and this car, the Corvette team, because the cars, at least anyway, I know people run into issues sometimes. Sometimes you get a bad car. I personally have never experienced that, and that's why I continue to to get them because I think they're amazing. I think they're crazy for your price. You're talking 1,100 horsepower in a sub $300,000 car. If you get it without any options and you can get one without having to pay over MSRP, $185,000 for 1,100 horsepower. Now, sure, some are going to say, oh, well, you can buy this car, that car for this much money and then only spend this much to mod it and it'll have more power than that. That's true. Again, value is subjective. What you think something is worth is your personal preference. There's no right or wrong in what you think something's worth. If you think this car is worth $1 million and you want to go out and offer someone $1 million to have it, that's on you. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to do that. But I thought this car was fair for its value and what it is. And I couldn't be happier with it. I'm eager to get through the 500-mile break-in period so I can actually push it a little bit and see just how much crazier it is than the Z06. So, but other than that, that will be it for this video. I'm definitely going to be posting more videos on this car, taking it to Cars and Coffee. I'm also posting a lot more on Instagram, and I just got a TikTok for my car stuff. I've never used TikTok, but we're going to try that out too. I'm going to be posting it there. There's already some pictures and reels up there. So if you want to go take a look, they'll be on screen. You can go follow me there. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, just as always. If you want more content looking like this, let me know what you want to see, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.